What it do, guys? It's D'Anthony here, man, aka Hood Scout, back again for another edition of the Hood Scout podcast. And this is really a unique podcast, a podcast like no other. We're going to have athletes, we're going to have coaches, we're going to have intellectuals, we're going to have media members of all sorts. And don't forget, guys, to like this podcast, share this podcast, and help grow this podcast. This is not just my podcast. This is also your podcast. And the only reason it's going to grow is because you guys are going to be invested in it, guys. Sit back, get your beverage of choice ready, get your popcorn ready, get your dinner ready, get your steak ready, get your vegan meal ready. Tune in, guys. Hood Scout. Peace. Hey, good afternoon, guys. Good afternoon. Welcome back to another edition of the Hood Scout podcast. Today, kind of continuing this business theme. This is a great guest, a guy that I hold in high esteem and really respect. And y'all know how we do it. Without further ado, tell the people who you are and where you're from.
How you doing, man? First of all, man, Hood Scout, I love it, man. That's very interesting. My name is Ken Brown, and I'm from Chicago. I live in Michigan now. I like to say that Chicago's my hometown where I was born, but Michigan is my pro town. That's why I make that money. Come on, somebody.
Hey, come on now. The money man in the building. Now, Doc, I originally read your book, as I told you off air, by Dr. Dennis Kimbrough. Shout out to Dr. Kimbrough, man. He came on my podcast
Yeah.
probably a year or two ago, man. His time flies. So I'm about a year and a half ago. And The Wealth Choice. That's a
Yes.
good book out there. Anybody that wanna kind of stay motivated, check out The Wealth Choice. But man, I read his book and I read your story in his book. And I
Wow.
think one thing that stood out to me was resiliency.
Wow.
Talk to me a little bit about that journey. Who is Ken Brown? How did this thing get started? We can see the success, but I know that wasn't always what it was.
That's powerful, man. Two things before I get started. First of all, man, success is a journey and not a destination. So much respect for you for understanding that because most people disrespect the game by thinking that it's a microwave mentality or you just play this, get a plug. No, you have to, success is a journey that you have to be prepared for.
Mhm.
Another thing, man, really shout out to Dr. Dennis Kimbrough, man. He is a dear friend of mine, a mentor of mine. Uh, and he's somebody that I respect. I have much uber respect for because he's true to this game called business. I've had the opportunity to go to Clark Atlanta University where he's an instructor to spend some time with his MBA students. He has this program called Take a Millionaire to Lunch. Through God's grace and mercy, I was able to go there and speak into the lives of those young entrepreneurs and leaders. And so, yeah, man, the wealth choice, man, plays 69. If you are seriously serious about being an entrepreneur, but living in freedom. See, wealth is a funny thing, man. It's called the wealth choice because it's choice. See, life is
Yeah.
about choices, challenge, and change. I'm gonna say it again for you. That's why I was so honored and humbled to be in that book because Dr. Kimbrough gets it. It's not that you're born with it. It's not that you inherit it. It's an absolute choice to be free and to create wealth, man. And so bottom line, the question you said, the journey, it started, man, in Chicago. I'm the product of teenage parents. I want to say that. That's very important.
Yeah.
Not advocating teenage pregnancy, but you talked about resilience. My parents at an early age not only taught me but showed me. See, most things are not taught; they're caught. So you can read books. That's why I wrote three books. That's why I was honored to be in the book called The Wealth Choice because you can read some things, but the most powerful thing you do is when you see somebody doing it. That's a powerful, powerful thing. So growing up, my parents taught me by their actions how to be resilient. The moniker in our life was this: life is 10% what happens to you, but it's 90% how you choose to respond to it. Come on, somebody. I don't think they
Hey, I
get that,
heard you,
man.
Doc. I
I
heard
got
you,
you up
man.
again.
Go.
That's a chicken nugget right there. See, life is gonna happen to you. But we
Yep.
focus, see, 90% of the people focus so much on what happened.
Mhm.
But when you understand that life is 90% what it's only 10% what happened to you, but it's 90% how you respond to it. That's a game changer. That's a place of empowerment. That helps you understand that it don't matter where you start, but you get to determine how you finish. So we're born to teenage parents. Mother and father were 13 to 14 when they started having babies. By the age
Wow.
of 20, they had 5 kids under 8. Now let me tell you something, bro. The world, the odds, statistics had told us that we would not amount to anything. But
Mhm.
my parents instilled these wonderful, wonderful principles in us that I took them and I believed them. First thing they taught me was that with God, all things are possible. So that was the
Yeah.
foundation right there. That they in my household, even though for 1 year I can remember 1 year we didn't have lights, we didn't have
Hey,
gas.
yeah, I
Yeah,
read that part. Yeah.
that's real.
Yeah.
But we still, but you know what? And that's the part about being resilient. Guess what? But in spite of that, don't miss this. We still went to a private school. Private school means you paid for it. Come on, somebody. See, but
Wow.
that's about a mindset. My parents had a growth mindset, even though they didn't have money. They showed us and told us that you don't need money when you got a made up mind and you got a mouth that can communicate. The world makes way for the man who know where he's going. Woo! Come on, somebody. They ain't ready for this, brother. They're not ready. Real
Wow.
talk.
Doc, I gotta that's and I know I stopped you and I don't I want to let you go,
So
but
that's okay,
I
brother.
think there's a there's a lot there.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not gonna say you're born in poverty, but
No.
not having a lot, lights being cut off, but yet in a private school, meaning we're gonna make sure you be okay. Even we're gonna get past this storm.
Yes,
So
sir.
they really taught you resiliency.
Dude, they showed it. They didn't teach. See, most things not taught is caught. I saw
Wow.
them right there, 10 toes down with us, living it out, living this out.
Wow.
So look, man, and so you got it, man. That's it right there. And so and that's what I saw growing up, man. It wasn't no woe me. Look, when lights went out, we had candles on deck. Do that
Yeah.
homework. Be a man of integrity. I mean, really, mother and father right there, shoulder to shoulder. I'll never forget that, man. I use that right now. So look, that taught me growing up. You know what? Guess what? Then when the candles got light, we had a next door neighbor named Miss Faulkner. Knocked on her door. Relationships are key. See, you don't need to have money. You're going to see that if you have good relationships, you know what? That's a game changer. So we had the next door neighbors, Miss Faulkner. So they had they power on. Father worked every day. Uh, um, Mother stayed at home. They had 9 children, so they had dual income. My mother didn't work because my mother had 5 kids under the age of 8, so she didn't want to work. She couldn't work, so my father had to take care of all us by himself. So next door neighbor, Miss Faulkner, let us use the extension cord. So we had an orange extension cord. We would run through her kitchen, through our yard, into our kitchen, and use the electricity so we could plug up the hot plate so we could boil some eggs to make some tuna fish sandwiches or bake some bologna sandwiches. You know what? I love what the Bible said. The Bible says, "Do not despise small
Small
beginnings." Come
beginnings.
on,
Yeah.
somebody. So all that, man, was something that I won't change it for the world because it got me. It built character. It built resiliency. It built me vision. Showed me passion. Showed me how the power of lack. God can always do more with less. All you need is a mustard seed of faith and belief and commitment. It's game over. Kiss the baby. So went through that. Went to private school. Then my mother and father. I never forget something very important, brother. Mother and father taught us. They said education is the way out of poverty. They told us that.
Mm,
Let me tell you
yeah.
something. Let's unpack poverty. Wealth and poverty is not about money. Wealth and poverty is about a mindset. So what my parents taught us was that we lived in poverty, but don't miss this. But poverty never was allowed to live in us. Woo! Come on, somebody.
Hey,
My
I'm
mother and
getting it.
father
I'm getting
never
it.
allowed us to get a poverty mindset. That's the
Wow.
game changer right there. That makes
Wow.
sense. Yes.
8 minutes in the Hood Scout podcast. Got Kim Brown. What I'm gonna call it Kim Brown International, man. Yeah, I like that whole name, man. It just feels big, the gravity and the scope of it. Man, it's so many different ways we can go with that, and I don't want to go too far because I'm a believer in chopping things up, not getting to that finish line
Okay.
before we dissect all in between. So talk to me about going to college because you've been a college graduate. I think
Yeah.
that's a very big deal from where
Yeah.
you come from. Talk a little bit about that, going to school. How was your mindset and what was your focus at going into university?
Wow. So bro, that is an absolute powerful question. So now imagine. So let me fast forward a little bit. Mother and father wound up getting a divorce right before I went to high school.
How did you
That was
handle that?
huh?
How did you handle that? That's a very,
That
very
was a
talking with Kim Brown or Kim Brown
My
International. This
mentor.
man,
To this
okay.
day, to this day, my father is my. I didn't have to look outside of my home for a role model. For both
Hmm.
my mother and father, those were my role models because they role model integrity, love,
Hmm.
passion, all hard work, discipline, faith. So I'm very blessed and fortunate. I don't take it lightly that I didn't have to go outside of my home. I never had a stepfather. My father had 5 kids by the same woman. That's important. I can't stop that.
Yep.
My 5 kids by the same mother and father, period. That's a game changer right there. At
Yep.
13 and 14, my father and mother, I can't say enough about how powerful they role model they were. So of course I was devastated because let me tell you how my father left the home. My father never got an education because he started having babies at an early age. So when we started to get older, and he told us, hey, education is the way out of poverty. When you get 17 years old, you got a choice. They believe in choices. You're either going to go to college or you got to get out of our house. Can I tell you what happened, brother? Listen to me. All 5 of us graduated from high school. All 5 went to college. 3 out of 5 got master degrees, bro. Real talk. So think
Wow.
about the essence of that, bro.
Yeah.
2 African American children started at 13 and 14 in the city of Chicago, and 5 of their offspring all went to college and they didn't. But look,
That's
that's why
big
I don't
time.
deal in excuses. I don't deal with
Yeah.
the race thing, the poverty. It's all about your environment and your mindset. You agree with that? So,
I agree with that.
so my so to say to answer the question, I was devastated when my mother and father um, got divorced. And the reason my mother divorced my father, because my father started. I never forget. I could tell you the day. My father used to always have a pattern of taking us school shopping um, to get brand new clothes every year, like most people did. My father did that, and I never. That was a big deal for us. So we had
Yeah.
five. Think about the volume and velocity of that. He had
Yeah.
5 kids with not
Yep.
a mother working, but we still
Wow.
had that pattern and system. So I never forget my auntie who wasn't married and had 3 children. One of them being the oldest was a boy, and he started to, get out there. So my father took ownership of him, kind of still. And I'll never forget, he took my auntie shopping one day at Sears in Chicago, Sears
Hmm.
Roebucks. And my
Yep.
father didn't go in. He took her, but he sat in the parking lot and he was sitting there. And it was a organization was out there, and they came to my father, gave him some literature about how to get into politics, how to change the world, change the environment. My father was an avid reader. He read a book. He read books. We had a library in the house, so he was very it
Wow.
intrigued him. So
Wow.
when he started going to these meetings and getting exposed, see, he taught me and showed me exposure is everything. So when he started to get exposure and get exposure, then he told my mom one day that, hey, guess what? I don't want to be a chef anymore because he worked his way up to a chef. He said, I want to do something that's going to change the world and change my children's life. He wanted to go into politics. He became an alderman. But the difference in this is my father, here you go, he the only breadwinner, bringing in enough money, working 2 jobs, bringing enough money to build a brand new house, have 5 kids in private, all was in private school. Even my sisters went to a private school for daycare. And
Wow.
so he went from having a salary to a stipend. So
Wow.
my mom, being a sister, being
Yeah.
lady. One thing I know about
Yeah.
ladies, I've been married for a long time. Lady, to us men, respect is very important. It's paramount to the
Hmm.
essence of who we are. On the
Yep.
converse, women, security and safety is utterly important to them.
It
And
is.
once
Yeah.
that gets shooken, they can't cope. So my
Yeah. Not
mother,
many.
my,
Yep.
my mother, she got nervous and said, "What are we gonna do? You go trying to follow your dream. You got to feed these
Yeah.
kids."
Yeah.
And her and my father went. They got different visions. They wound up getting a divorce. Now, very important, very
Yep.
important. My mother divorced my father, but my father did never divorce his children. Woo!
Ooh.
Come on, somebody, I
Oh,
say it again for
have
me.
mercy. Wow.
My
Wow.
mother divorced my father, but my father never divorced his children. Every Sunday, my father
Wow.
came and picked us up and took us to museum, took us on trips, gave us
Wow.
exposure. Him and my mom still had a phenomenal relationship. Wasn't no co-parenting relationship. They had a phenomenal relationship. Every graduation, every party, every funeral, every bar mitzvah, my father and mother were right there together, side by side, casting this powerful shadow of unity and all that, and it was real. I
Wow.
was devastated by that,
Yeah.
first of all. But then
Yeah.
we went. I went to college. I majored in hotel restaurant management, and
I
so
read that. Yep.
we got evicted. I never forget. Every year in high school, we got evicted because, of course, we went from having a two income, my father being a breadwinner, to my father giving my mother money every week, but it wasn't enough to keep up with private school, the house we built, and all that. So our lifestyle dropped, and we wound up losing our house that we built from the ground. That
Wow.
happened my freshman year, bruh. So that was absolute devastating. But we stayed in that private school. I went and got it. My brother and I went and got a job in a private school. So every 2 weeks we would get a paycheck. We would get one to the school for our tuition and keep the other one in our pocket. So we had to bug
Wow.
my mother for money. Come on,
Wow.
somebody.
Y'all
Come
was
on,
already
somebody.
some hustlers, natural born. Wow.
Dude, entrepreneurs, dude. You know what? You know what? You find a need and feel it. And you know what? If you
Yeah.
don't have it, you create it. One thing I'm gonna tell you, man, God made us all to be able to create. And I read this quote a long time ago, brother. It said, the best way to predict the future is for you to create it, brother.
Yeah.
Period, point
Yep.
blank. So
Yep.
went to college. I majored in hotel restaurant management because my friends wanted to be doctors, lawyers, accountants, CPAs. I wasn't wired like that. I
Hmm.
wanted to, my father was a chef. My grandmother worked for the Hyatt Corporation for 30 years. So food was kind of ingrained in me. My uncle owned a little small restaurant. So when I went to college, I was clear. As a
Yeah.
man thinking, I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to own my own business called Ken's Hot Dog Stand in Chicago. Didn't have the
Wow.
money, but I knew that I wanted to, because think about it. Food, you need three things to live in the world, all over the world. I wanted to recession proof my life. You need food,
Woo.
water, and shelter. So at a young age, I said, every doctor got to eat, every lawyer got to eat. So why don't I get into a profession that I don't care where I go and grow, I can always be in season and value added and a need, not a want. So I went to college with clarity, knowing that I was majoring in food and nutrition with a specialization in hotel restaurant management, and I did that. And that was probably the most wonderful time of my life. To think about it, we was evicted, and before I went to college, we all were staying. All five of us and my mom, my grandma was staying in a one-bedroom apartment on the south side of Chicago, a high-rise building. We all lived there, sleeping on the floor, one bathroom. But guess what? We still woke up every day and went to a private school. Man, that foundation was phenomenal. But so when
Man.
I got a chance to go to college, it was a breath of fresh air because I had my own room. My roommate had my own
Yeah.
bed.
Yeah. I did read that.
I
Yep.
could go into the cafeteria and swipe the meals. Then
Yep.
I got a job in a Saluki Grill. Oh man, it was a game changer, brother. Game changer.
Yeah.
Remember, life is 10% what happens to you, but it's 90% how you choose
How
to
you respond?
respond to it. So I ran
Yeah.
that play. I ran that play called the exit strategy, bro. I had to get up out of Chicago so I can create my new world, man. And that's what things changed for me, man. That's what the games changed down at Carbondale, Illinois. SIU Carbondale. Shout out always. Let me tell you something too. Now, once I matriculated, I'll never forget how I got the job was. My fraternity brothers told me when you go to an interview, you want to make sure that you polished. So I
Hmm.
didn't have a lot of clothes, but my
Hmm.
stuff was tight. So
Yeah.
I had one pair of shoes. They were really buffed up, shiny. Had some slacks. Went and bought me a white shirt, a power tie, and a jacket. Went to the interview, and a guy named Rick Weber hired me to be the assistant food service director for Aramark. So it was game over. I went to college not to get a degree. I went to college to get a job, and that was done. So that was
Ooh.
checkbox. I never forget
Hmm.
this, brother. They paid me $18,500. That was back in 1988, and I thought I was rich. I called home and
Yeah.
said, "Medea, I'm making 18,000. I'm about to buy us a house. I'm coming to the crib." Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Hey, your heart was in the right place though.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was. But my money wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
I had delusions of grandeur, you know. Um, but it's hope, man. I hope. Hope has been able to see past today, man. And so it was powerful for me to be able to be African American male, born to teenage parents, evicted 10 times, but the other go to college and matriculate, and then matriculate with a job. That was
Yeah.
nothing but God, man. But then guess what? Life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you choose to respond to it. After working for 6 months as assistant food service director, one day I went into my office and my director, Mary, told me, Ken, I gotta let you go. And I said, well, I'm being promoted. She said, no, I'm firing you. And she never gave me a reason. She just said our styles was too different. Back then, I was not aware of a thing called, now I'm an employer. I understand that in certain states, there's this powerful thing called at will employment, that you don't have to have a write up documentation. You can hire people
Yep. And you can
according to
fire 'em.
your will, and they
Yep.
can leave you at will. No harm, no foul. I didn't understand that, so I was devastated. So I actually locked myself in my one bedroom apartment for like 30 days, man, just stripped down. My pride was hit, my ego was crushed. I was embarrassed because everybody celebrating me graduating, and then 6 months into it, I got fired, bro. And then the thing
Yeah.
about it, what made it so bad was because I'm an adversity expert, but I didn't get a reason why. Only thing she said was
Yeah.
our styles too different. And so,
Wow.
but that was God, man. God, you know what?
Yeah.
It's so powerful. The Bible tells us that many are the plans of the man's heart, but it's the Lord's purpose that will prevail. Woo!
Yep.
Come on, somebody. Look, now
Yeah.
look, if you follow the story, I want you to understand how that wound up being the most powerful thing that probably ever happened to me in my life. Because let me tell you why. Let me unpack that for you. Because
Hmm.
I travel the world, man, teaching and teaching and coaching, right? And guess what? The difference in to me in success and failure is most people are just comfortable. They comfortable.
Oh,
They're
wow.
comfortable. Let me tell you something I know with my life and with people I know and I coach and I train at all levels is that everything that you want, everything that you desire, everything that you dreamed of is right there on the other side of your comfort zone. But most people will not get uncomfortable. The only time you can grow is when you uncomfortable. You can never grow when you comfortable. So that situation at an early age, right out of college, it broke me down, but it also at the same time built me up to show me that guess what? Um, it ain't over. It ain't over.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
it showed me that on the other side of pain is a promise. If you keep focused, take ownership, you know, be passionate, and stay true to your craft. And I did that. So after 30 days, the law of association says you become the top 5 people you surround yourself. I never forget this. I got to give a shout out to one of my fraternity brothers named Sean Moore, who called me. I was hibernating. I was embarrassed. I wasn't answering. Back then, we had an answer machine, so I wouldn't.
Yeah.
My whole app machine was full. I wouldn't answer the messages. I was just soaking, not taking the bath. I was just at my lowest about that
Yeah.
job, and so
Hmm.
he called me on like a 30-second, 30 and said, "Hey Ken, look, I know you ain't answering the call, but I want you to be dressed on Tuesday, on Friday at 9 o'clock. I'm coming to pick you up. We going to this job fair." And
Wow.
that right there, once again, the lesson is be careful who you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
Surround yourself with people, not fans who tell
Hmm.
you, "Oh, you're doing great." True friends who push you and tell you, "No, it's more in you, Ken Brown. Get up. I'm not gonna let you soak. You're gonna have your time, but get up." And I never forget, it was so powerful. It reminded me of a story in the Bible with David, King David. Ooh, King David was a
Yeah.
mighty brother. Remember
Yeah. I
when
love David.
he sinned and had
Yeah.
intercourse with Bathsheba, another man's
Bathsheba.
wife, which is straight
Hmm.
up ghetto and trifling. I'm gonna say that for the records, right? But guess what? But God is so powerful that God, because his heart was right. And guess
Yeah.
what? Remember, as a result of that relationship, they had a child, and that child became sick, and he was praying and all this. But then I never forget, the powerful part is once he found out that that child was dead. He
Yeah.
got up, took a shower, put some new clothes on, and said, "Let's get to work."
Yeah.
That's the motto, dude. So guess what? My
Yeah.
buddy let me go through my period, but when he said, "Ken, that baby is dead," it's something new out there. Come on, God got something
Yeah.
bigger and better in store for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
I went
Yeah.
to that job fair, brother, and that's when I met Wendy's, and that was the second step of a brick to my future that I didn't even know to. So Wendy's. Now remember, I had worked at ARA Airmark for 6 months and got fired,
Yep.
but it was on my resume and I had a
Yeah.
college degree. So when
Yep.
Wendy saw me, they gave me an offer on the spot at a job fair. Now,
Mm.
I was making 18,500 at the first job, and they gave me an offer for 25,000. So I got fired from my job, but wound up getting a raise. Woo!
Yeah.
Come on,
Yeah.
somebody.
Yeah. Hey, God working.
dude. And then so that gave me my confidence back. It gave I said, dang, you know what? And it was just powerful. And I was open too to say, okay, God, I see you. And after that, it was game over. So, but I did do this. I made a commitment to myself. I said, I'll commit to making sure that I'll never give another person the opportunity to
Yeah.
change my direction of my life. I'm the
Mhm.
author, the master, and the star of my life. So I said, I'm not going to do a job another day in my life. And I can tell you this, I have not worked another job since this. People think it's a job because they give me money for my services, but in my mind, it's not a job, it's a paid internship. Woo! Come on, somebody.
Wow.
Because guess
Wow.
what? See the difference in the job and the internship, you both give time for money. But the difference is the mindset. People with a job, they want the 40-40 plan, 40 hours, 40 years for a 401k. Not me. That ain't realistic. So with me, I said I will go find companies that can help me get to my goal of owning Ken's hot dog stands, and I would go and I would sell them my time,
Mhm.
and I will learn, I will earn, and then at the right time, I'll move on. I started to run that play. I went to Wendy's, went in, learned about franchising, learned about
Wow.
systems, learned about
Wow.
processes. Then I got
Wow.
recruited by another entrepreneur, and I started just on this journey. Then I get to, oh yeah, so that I can go on and on, bro. You can stop, but I can keep going on, man. You better, yeah,
You
because I,
you no, no, you good. You know, I want to ask this. Even going back to the job you had for 6 months.
mm-hmm,
I've been around some leaders, and I think it's with the greats. It's very simple. You learn first off, they move to a different drum.
yeah,
They can be sweeping the floor, but they sweep it at a different level.
period.
How did you? How did what? Not necessarily how was your work ethic, but how did you separate yourself even in your work, whether it was Wendy's or whether it was a first job? Like, how did you carry yourself in those jobs, even though those were stepping stone type of jobs?
That's another great question, young man. So it's a two-pronged approach to that. The first one is you I have a servant leadership's heart. My email to this day is servant leader one, always have been, because wherever I go, I serve. The Bible says to be truly great, you must first serve others. So whether I'm the CEO or I was at entry level, I always serve the people in my ecosystem. That was the second thing. Also, the second thing is, well, it's three prong. I work with excellence. See, excellence
Yeah.
never goes out of style.
Woo.
You don't get never, ever, ever.
Yeah.
Guess what? And also, I got this thing in my mind. I understand that. Guess what? You got to get this, brother. This is a game changer. You don't get
Okay.
paid by the hour. You get paid by the value you bring to the hour. So wherever you go, if you bring value, you're gonna make more money than anybody around, brother. I just gave you $1 million
Yeah,
worth
you
of
did.
game. Woo! Come on, baby.
Hey, I'm right in there. I got that one. Hey,
Let me
repeat that
tell
one
you
again,
something.
kid. That was so sweet. You gotta repeat that one again.
Look,
Wow.
let me tell you something. And this works all over the world, every day of the week, whatever your vocation or profession. You don't get paid by the hour, you get paid by the value that you bring to the hour. So every
Wow.
day when you lace them up, if you just bring value, you never ever gonna worry about money again, because people with money are always looking to give people who bring the two things. They solve a problem and bring value. Come on, somebody. When people
Wow.
call me, guess what they say? I don't negotiate prices. They say, Ken Brown, I heard about you. And they say, what's your price?
Woo.
Because
Wow.
that's been my body of work. And also I want to can I ask, can I add a chicken nugget to the top? Can I give you
You
a
don't
six
gotta
piece?
ask, just say
That is,
it.
now, if you want to do that, but then you also want to have in the back of your mind is when this play is, you always want to deliver more value than you get paid for. That's the cheat
Said
code.
it.
At
Wow.
every level of the game, I run that play still to this day, because guess what? No, only 1% of the population understand that and execute that.
Man, 28 minutes in, and you know it's so funny, man, because you're talking about executing plays, and I started this thing with talking to these college coaches, and my guy Brendan Marion at UNLV, one of the few African American men who's offensive coordinator. So big ups to you. Y'all got a big
Yeah,
game on Friday, but the point I bring that is it correlates. This is business, this is sport. It correlates to the winning formula, man,
period.
and
Period.
That's a lot there, man. So
Yeah.
you after Wendy's, let's lead up from there after Wendy's and how that journey. I know you got so many nuggets, so keep dropping them for me.
Okay. So after Wendy's, I started getting recruited, man. The word traveled, and I was getting recruited, and I would still execute and paid internship.
Yeah.
Then I never forget. I was my wife and I wanted to. We had no children. We had just had a child. We wanted to build our first house. So we had a meeting and we said, okay, we need to earn extra income to qualify. So I think I might have been 30 years old at the time.
Okay.
Then I said, okay, so she was an educator. So back in Chicago, back then, the educator they worked for a whole year, but then they could spread their salary over the summer, so they could have the summers off. But then they gave us the benefit of having off, but then to come to get ahead, we would use that summer to earn extra income so we could double dip. She got that
Mhm.
paycheck coming from there. So I said, you go get a job. Why don't you do some tutoring over the summer? And I'll go get a job in a restaurant using my skill set. So I thought I was going to take a job managing a restaurant because I was a consultant back then. I mean, a food broker. So I went to a restaurant and that was being built from the ground in Aurora,
Ken, I
Illinois.
gotta stop you. I gotta stop you, Ken. Food broker. What is that? Layman terms. I got it.
Thanks a lot. So, companies like Quaker, Nabisco, Tyson, Sara Lee,
Yep.
all of these brands in grocery stores and restaurants, a
Yep.
broker, that's a manufacturer. They make it. Then our company, a broker, would represent those products. And then a broker rep like me would go to hotels, casinos, restaurants. And then we would show them samples of this food so they could buy it from the distributor. That makes
I
sense.
got you.
So we would
Yep.
represent those products, and then so any product that got sold in our area, our brokerage got paid a fee of it. So once again, at that very young age, I was the only African American in that industry, but learning from these old veterans. And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to. What I did not want to, what I strategically and intentionally did was I wanted to position myself in the food industry of not just a restaurant guy, but what I call a subject matter expert. I call it
Mhm.
farm to table. So as a broker, I was able to go to the plant to see chickens being chicken would come out of a coop, and about 30 minutes later, we follow on the tour. That chicken is in a box in the freezer.
Wow.
I went to the French fry company, J.R. Simplot, who made the French fries for McDonald's and all these companies, and I saw them. The potatoes come out the ground. I watched them. We watched them go on the tour and watched them be processed. So every product, I had that also to my repertoire. So I did that for a few years. So I was doing that and loving that because I had a company car. It was just a different experience. So
Yep.
then I got an opportunity I was serving tables at a restaurant. So as a food broker, I had some samples left over. So one day I walked into the restaurant, I had some samples, and I asked for the owner. I don't mind cold calling. I'm so gangster with it. I love
Yep.
cold calling. Cold
Yeah.
call on the guy, but I had some samples. I said, "How you doing? My name is Ken Brown. I'm with AWG Food Broker, represent Sara Lee, Quaker, Nabisco, and want to see if I can set an appointment with you. And I have some samples for you." And he said, "Mr. Brown, no disrespect. I'm gonna open this restaurant up next week, and I don't need product. I need people." I say, "Sir,
Mm.
here, you know what? Take the samples, keep them. I check with you when you open up." Went home. Wife and I was having dinner. Ken, how was your day? Like we always did. I said, "Guess what? The restaurant across the street, the beautiful restaurant." I said, "It's beautiful in there. Italian restaurant, open kitchen." I said, "The guy in there." I asked the guy, he wants some samples. He said, "No, he need people." And she said, "Stop." She said, "Don't you want to open your own restaurant one day?" I said, "Yes, I am." She said, "Why didn't you go help the guy out?" And I was like,
Wow.
wow. So she used my own stuff on me.
Wow.
So
Ken,
the next day,
I gotta stop you, bro. You increase your knowledge base, and when you increase your knowledge base, it increases your opportunities.
period. Period.
Wow.
Period.
Wow.
That's why most people are where they are because they scared to get uncomfortable. They want to do what they look. Let me tell you something. The most dangerous thing for me is to hear somebody that says, "I can do it with my eyes closed." That means
Mm.
you're quick growing, you're comfortable, and you're dangerous to me.
Wow. Wow.
Every day you should wake up. Know what I do? Know what for the last 15 years, know what I've done? I wake up every day and I intentionally, strategically find opportunities for me to get uncomfortable.
Wee.
That's why
I'm
I
hey, I'm
grow.
yeah. Yeah. Wow.
So I go in there and so I go over the next day, tell the guy I want to help him out. Now I thought he wanted me to run the place. Because remember, I got a degree in hotel restaurant management.
Yep.
He wanted me to serve tables there.
How did you handle that?
That's powerful because once again, I told you I have a service heart.
Yep.
I told you that the best way to get over is to add value.
Yep.
I told you that another cheat code is you want to also offer a solution to a problem. He had a problem. I offered a solution. He paid me money. It's fair shame, no robbery.
Yep.
But
Wow.
little did I know that that opportunity, not only that saying yes and being coachable to my own wife was a neck. That was a you eyes. It's just a powerful move. So went over there. I'm over there just trying to get money so we can build a house,
Mm-hmm.
stacking money. But
Yep.
then I never forget, I became real proficient at it because I got a service heart. I'm professional. The only brother in this beautiful white tablecloth Italian restaurant, and so I had never. Now I got a hotel. I got a degree in hotel restaurant management. Worked in restaurant, but only as a leader, never a server. So I got a chance to be a server, and once again, to be truly great, you must first serve others. So I became one of the most proficient servers there. I was making 300 $400 of tips a night, bro. Real talk. Cash money, money
Wow.
cash. And it's
Yeah.
part time. So I did it for about a year. Then I noticed something. People would start to come and request to me. So it was an African American couple, and they would always come on a date every Friday night and eating Eric Wydell, still friends of mine to this day. And they would request me. I don't care if it was a 45-minute wait. No, we'll wait for Ken because they knew the level of service and ownership I was going to give. So I'm serving them, and every time he would ask me questions, he said, Ken, something different about you, young man. And I said, you know what? I'm not really a server, sir. My name is Ken Brown. I'm gonna open my own restaurant one day. It's called Ken's Hot Dog Stands. I'm only here to learn, earn, add value, and move on. That was my story.
Yeah. Wow.
And he would come every Friday. He would ask me questions. So, Ken, how's Ken's Hot Dogs coming? And it wasn't coming, but I put it out there in my mind, and it's gonna be good. So, fast forward one day, I'm looking at the Chicago Tribune, which is a paper, and I used to look in the want ads, and I came up with this strategy with me and my partner that we would look for restaurants who were doing hiring, and we would start a company called Food Service Solutions. And listen to this: we didn't do the paperwork. It wasn't official, but in our mind, I was president, he vice president, and we started a company called Food Service Solutions. And I would look in the Chicago Tribune and they help wanted ad, and I would call. If you had a company, a restaurant, and you hired, I say, hey, my name is Ken Brown. I'm president of Food Service Solutions. Bruh, I didn't have a card, I didn't have a business plan, but I had a made up mind. Woo! Come on, somebody.
I received
Nobody
that.
couldn't tell me I had no company. I had a company. So guess what?
Yeah.
All I needed was an opportunity. True
Yeah.
story. So then I saw this ad said, "Come meet McDonald's upper management." I stopped.
That's
Tore
all
the
you needed.
article out. Listen to me. Tore the article out. Called my partner Archie. Dude, we got a client. Let's go to McDonald's corporate headquarters and tell them to hire us. And we gonna change it. We're gonna tell them that we hire us as consultants and we will improve the quality, service, and cleanliness in all their restaurants. He said, dude, I'm not going. So you think it stopped me? I got
Nope.
suited up. I put my suit on, got my briefcase. Don't miss this, brother. Guess what I did? The only thing I put in that briefcase was the article. Sometimes you gotta fake it till you make it. Woo! Come on, somebody. Look, remember
Wow.
G? Remember that song was Kanye West and Jay Z said "Diamonds Are Forever," and Jay Z got
Yep.
that hook and says, "I'm not a businessman. I
Yeah.
am
I'm
the
a
businessman."
businessman.
Woo!
Yep.
Come on,
Yeah.
somebody. See,
Wow.
that's a perfect example. I am the business. I got suited and booted to go there to mind my business. So I got there, got on the escalator, go up the stairs, and why did I see balloons? Some told me to stop. And I opened up the briefcase and I read the whole article. Look, it said, come meet McDonald's upper management at a job fair. I wasn't planning to go to a job fair. My intention was to go meet McDonald's upper management because in my mind, I was a CEO and I wanted to talk to their CEO about hiring my company. And I went there with that intention. So I got
Mhm.
there, saw it was a job fair. So I said, I might as well stay here and start walking around the job fair. They had McDonald's got a real estate department. They got a franchise department. They got a chef there. So I saw McDonald's then wasn't just Happy Meals. It was a global company And I went through the whole thing. This is why I'm ending up. But check this out. So I go through the job fair. We go into an auditorium. We sitting there, and then they had a stage, and there's 4 people on the stage: 3 Caucasian men and 1 African American lady. Now, can I go back for you? Can I go
You can,
rewind?
man. You can. You got it.
Remember when I was at the restaurant called Lorenzo
Yep.
serving tables?
Yep.
Remember I told you that couple, the husband and wife who
Yep.
was coming to the store. Remember I told you the man would always talk to me, but the lady named Edie, she never said anything to me, but she was watching me.
Wow. That's a nugget.
People don't see. I believe this. People don't watch what you say, listen to what you say. They watch what you do. So she saw me in there. I can't make this up. So they had a presentation. She stood up. You ever saw somebody, man, and you know them, but you don't know them. You know you can't. You've had an encounter with them. You've seen them,
Yeah.
but you never know. I had that moment there. I saw her on. I said, wait a minute. I know her from somewhere. I couldn't figure it out. I started to get nervous because remember, I already had a job as a consultant. So I'm like, maybe she wanted my broke. My mind started going
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
So I was trying to leave. They didn't let me leave. They had a receiving
Wow.
line. So they got off the stage and they came and they made us shake the hand. So as I'm leaving out, I'm shaking her hand and she said, lock the doors. I thought I was going to jail. She said, lock the doors.
Wow.
Because they had the CEO of McDonald's there and he had all the Secret Service agents, the security guards and stuff. This was a big deal, bruh. So she
Wow.
said, lock the doors. And she started pointing at me. She said, I know this guy. She called the CEO of McDonald's over, bruh. Now listen, born to teenage parents, evicted 10 times, got fired from my first job, and here I am having the vice president of McDonald's. I didn't know, and this lady was the vice president of McDonald's, bro. I didn't know that when I was serving her. She brought the CEO over and said, this guy right here, me and my husband have been going to this restaurant near our house for a year. This gentleman right here has been our server. She said the professionalism, the way that he took ownership. Let me tell you something. See, most people want to be an owner. But before you become an owner, you have to take ownership. Woo! Come on, somebody. And the Bible says it best. The Bible said, when you're faithful with the small things, he'll make you the ruler over many things. This is for all my entrepreneurs out there who work at a job and they want to own their own business. Let me tell you something. The way to own your own business is to mind your business. Treat that business like it's yours. Take ownership of it. Don't worry about who watching. Dominate it. Take ownership of it. That's the name of it. So she said, this guy right here. She said, we want him on our team. I said, ma'am, with all due respect, I appreciate the introduction. My name is Ken Brown, and I'm president and CEO of Food Service Solutions. And I said, I didn't come here for a job. I came here. She said, shut your mouth. She said, she said, I seen you and I seen your work. And she said, if you trust me, she said, you could be where I'm at in 5 years.
Wow.
Bruh, next thing you
Wow.
know, I was in a meeting with all of the McDonald's brass, and they put in front of me a franchise agreement. No, they gave me an opportunity. They gave me an opportunity to be a consultant over 4 restaurants in Chicago. I did that for 1 year. Now she gave me a job as a consultant, a company car, expense account, American Express card that I didn't have to pay the bill, a company car, and paid me $80,000, bro, off the streets. Period.
Wow.
I never in my life worked behind the counter of McDonald's, but she gave me the opportunity to be a consultant over 4 of them. Game changer. Took that opportunity at all 4 restaurants. I improved the quality, service, cleanliness, and I brought each store increased revenue by $150,000. 150 times 4 is 600,000 all over the world. So guess what? Remember, I told you, you always want to deliver more value than you get paid for. They paid me 80,000, but because of my expertise and my kuchima and my mindset, my skill set, they got back 600,000 the first year, bro. Come on, somebody. When she saw those numbers, bro, she called me and said she got promoted from Chicago to Michigan. She was the vice president of all the Michigan area. She called me and said, Ken, I've been watching you. You told me you wanted to own your own business, and now I'm in a position that I can make it come true. I moved my family to Michigan. Um, she told me to, I got a call from a bank called Fleet Bank of Boston, which is now called Bank of America. They said, Ken Brown, we heard about you, and we heard about you from McDonald's, and we want to invest in you. We know that the business that you buying costs $3 million, and we want to loan you the $3 million so you can buy those two McDonald's franchise, brother. But I'm loving it.
I'm
Come
loving
on,
it.
somebody.
Wow, kid. Now this is man. What a beautiful lead up now, because this is, I don't know at that time how many black people. It's not all about race, but
Right,
in a lot of times as you move up, you become some of the few. I don't know how many black people were doing what you were doing.
right.
Um, you're probably going to say it was something that you did earlier, but how did you, and this is a question I thought about even a while ago, how did you put your mark on those McDonald's franchises to separate them from the other ones that were in the area? McDonald's is like on every corner.
Right.
What was that anointing, if you will, that separated what was that blueprint that you put on those McDonald's?
That's perfect. So first of all, faith, about foundation faith. I'm not a boss. I'm a servant.
Yep.
So I start at the bottom. What do you need to get? I sat down with each restaurant, showed them where they were operationally and what the standard was. I need your help. We're here. What is it going to take? What are the barriers to get up from here to here? Everything they told me, whether I believed it, whether I was right or wrong, I did it because I was building credibility with them, building trust with them. See, one thing about business is people do business with people they know, like, and trust. So that's employees too. That's your team. When they know you, when they like you, when they trust you, they will do anything for you. So I started with that, and I got a thing called a calm day where I sit down, a communication day, and I communicate the vision, the mission, and purpose to everybody. And the Bible tells us, write the vision, make it plain. Those who read it, it will run, it will not tarry. So the first thing I do, I still do it to this day, is I make sure that everybody in my organization understands the standard, the mission, and vision. And then my job is all day is, guess what? To remove barriers. That's it.
Mhm.
Remove
Wow.
barriers. And so in the
Mhm.
restaurant space, it's a three-legged stool, it's called. I make sure that we have the cleanest, fastest, friendliest restaurants in the business. People want that. It's called fast food. So, and people don't expect it to be clean because of McDonald's, but I was a game changer. Every restaurant that I still touch to this day is the fastest, cleanest, friendliest in the business. We call it quality, service, and cleanliness. That is the way to make it. You take that and put it on top of a system like McDonald's, and a system means save yourself time, energy, and money. Woo! Come on, somebody.
Hey kid, don't charge me for these nuggets you dropping, man. I really should be paying you for being on here. You are dropping some nuggets, man.
Guess what? Guess what? Guess what? I agree. Ah, go ahead.
Man, okay, man, keep going, man. I want to hear about. I want to hear about 2 points. I want to hear about you getting those ownership of those McDonald's.
Yeah.
Then I want to hear about your consulting, because the nuggets you're dropping. I'm sure that many people have called and rang your phone line and say, "Hey, we need you to come consult for us."
And then they say, "What's your price?" And I love it.
Yeah, yeah.
And everybody, you
Wow.
know what? Everybody can't reach that high, and that's okay. I'm not for everybody. There's some high level stuff. And that's why my sweet spot is people who in the franchise space is the ultimate. But if somebody who's serious, pretty serious, and got some good cash flow in their business, I can help them grow any restaurant all over the world, man. That's my, and I do leadership training too for any kind of company. But my sweet spot, and I dominate it, is the French, any kind of French, not just any kind of franchise. I cracked the code with it, man. I guarantee you, it's gonna be the fastest, friendliest, cleanest. I don't care. And guess what? My specialty is in the urban environment. Love the underperforming. Woo! Come on, somebody. Love it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, man. But that's it, man. So I got the restaurants, man. They wire transferred me $3 million, so I could buy the restaurants. I bought the restaurants. I had to pay back 28 million, $28,000, $28,000 a month for debt service to pay that loan back. I paid back $3 million in 6 years. Uh, I was 33 years old when I got the opportunity, became a millionaire man, and God has blessed me, bro. And that's my story. I'm sticking to it. I can't make that up, man. It's like, so that story is all, that message is all about, is all things are possible for those who believe. You find something that you find value, find some area or a skill set that you could add value for it. Always have a service heart. Lead with service. Service is the key to greatness. If you serve people, you're always gonna make money wherever you go on the globe. And the last thing I would say is always commit to everlasting lifelong learning. Read all you can about something. Don't just read it, but apply it. Some people read books, but apply what you read. Read it again because every day we grow. If you read a book 2 years ago, pick it up again. You're gonna get a whole new perspective. So that's the key, man. And that's universal wherever you
Ken,
go.
let me stop you right here, man. And I'm
Mhm.
enjoying this. We're about an hour in, so about 40 minutes, 49 minutes in. We're gonna wrap up in just a second. I got a few more questions. Um, Man, you said a lot. You said a lot. I gotta make sure my brain is not scattered because you said so much, so many different nuggets. Um, the books. You mentioned books, but it was another route I was gonna go. Oh, how many McDonald's kids was it, one or two that you had kind of got?
So I got two McDonald's. They wanted to give me four. And they came to Michigan. They took me around, and once again, I had no money, zero money. I got
Yeah.
into McDonald's. That's another. I know sometimes God puts you in a situation where nobody can get credit but Him. That's the story. It's not about me, my mother, my father. It's the God's favor, His grace, His mercy. The only thing I can take credit for is being prepared for the opportunity. That makes
Yeah.
sense. So
Yep.
they came and we did a tour of four stores. They had a four-store package. So I drove around and two of them, the buildings or infrastructure was very old. So I started thinking, okay, instantly I'm going to have to put some money into it. I'm already going in 100% finance. So it's going to take me longer to be profitable. So that wouldn't be a good look. It might be good for my ego, but it wouldn't be good for my bank account. And I always believe that as a man, you cannot feed your ego and bank account at the same time. So I chose my
Right.
bank account instead of the ego. And so I told them, no thanks. I don't want those. I don't want four. I want two. So then I picked two out of the four. One was a hole in the ground. It was a new site. I said, I want that one. I got a chance to start from scratch. So it gave me an awesome opportunity at a young age to say that I built a McDonald's from the ground. I was over the construction department. I mean, I didn't know what the heck I was doing, but I did it because McDonald's got some infrastructure. But everybody coming to me, Mr. Brown, what do you think about this? What do you think? Okay, go with that. I had to fake it till I make it. And
Hey, yeah.
built this restaurant, had a ribbon cutting. I'll never forget that. And then I took another one because it had a play place, and I had three small boys, and so took those two stores. And this another cheat code I have. Most people want to grow horizontally, more units, 10 units, 15 units, 13 units, 20 units. I don't know why. I just knew that you could do more with less. I knew that as a young entrepreneur, I could put my arms around it. So people say I'm short, but my vertical is crazy, bro. So
Yeah.
I'm a good
Wow.
at growing businesses upwards because guess what? When I grow upwards, they're more profitable because the cost of goods and cost operating costs stays steady. But as I increase my sales, my labor goes up. My cost of goods goes. I mean, my labor go down. Cost of goods goes down. Operating costs go down. So I chose that play instead of trying to grow wide. I went up and wound up taking those stores, two underperforming stores from 1.3 million and 1 million to $3 million in the first year. Never looked back. Was able to generate $50 million in sales in those two stores, man, and just can't say enough about it, man. It's a wonderful, tremendous opportunity to be a young brother, and it gave me a foundation and a blueprint that I eat off of right to the day. To be honest with you.
Ken, I want to plug your website. Tell the people where to go to find you. Number one. Number two, and I know I said we're going to wrap up because I want to be mindful of your time, even though you're dropping a lot of nuggets. Number two, talk about your books.
Okay,
Talk about your CDs where people can go to purchase those type of things. And then a third one, and I know I'm throwing a couple at you.
that's
Talk to
okay.
me about some books that you may have read that inspired you.
You love it, love it. So first one is it's pretty simple. It's you can go to kenbrowninternational.com, www.kenbrowninternational.com. There you can go and click to the store. Go to the store. You'll find at the store I have. Forget the tapes, man. Get the books. Nothing better than getting books. Build a library. If you are readers are
Yes.
leaders. If you
Yep.
lead any kind of team, you need to read books. Read a book. Start with a book a year. If you're a zero reader, a book a year. If you're a little bit of reader, a book every quarter. You better than that, a book a month. So but start read not a newspaper and not social media. Read a book. Smell a
Yep.
book that you can highlight in. So go to the bookstore. I got 3 books. I'm in this order. First book, because we built the foundation. Get the book called A Leap of Faith. Period. That's the book. It's a narrative autobiography that's going to walk you through the details like the I just told you. But it's a powerful. It's a foundation for anybody called Leap of Faith. After you read that book, then the next book I want you to get is my book called Life. Live in freedom every day. That's why I can't life. Life is living freedom every day. 6 principles for successful living. If you want to be successful in any vocation, you got to get that book because it's about living a principle-driven life. Success is about principles. Once you get the principles, they're universal, you apply them. You know what? That's how you become successful. Then my last book is it's called Life Through the Arches. So I showed through this book how I took those 6 principles and applied them in my McDonald's franchise, and then you can apply them in your own life. So those are at the website, or you can get all 3 of those on Amazon. If you got an Amazon Prime account, they'll get them to you quicker. If you get them from me, I will ship them to you. I would say the best way to get it Amazon. I get paid for it anyway. You get it quick. I want to get it to you. Don't do the CDs or all that. Get the physical books if you don't mind. Also I got coaching tab on there. I only do I'm to be honest right now. I can't take any more coaching clients right now.
Why can't you too booked?
I'm totally committed. I mean, for at least until top of the year, I'm very committed. Unless, of course, you know what? Remember they say, one of the rappers say, "Hey, 150 to get me off the couch." If the money's right, bro, I can squeeze you in. I'm be honest with you.
Yeah,
Real
yeah,
talk, but
yeah.
I want to do it just. I want to be honest with you. But still, I can do some phone kind of coaching, but physical coaching where I come to the physical plant and work with your team. I won't be able to have anybody else to the top of it, probably top of 2025. What other question you had? Oh, books I read. My favorite part.
Yeah.
The books. First of all, man, the Bible. Not being pretentious, brother. The
Yep.
Bible. Start with Proverbs. Proverbs was written by the richest, wisest man to ever live, even still to this day. And you think I dropped some nuggets? If you take, it's 31 Proverbs in the Bible. So that means
Yep.
start off slowly. Every day, like today is the what? 9th, the 10th, the 11th, I mean. So today,
Yeah.
Proverbs
Well,
11. Tomorrow, get up, read Proverbs 12. So that's the first, that's the foundation. Then another next book would be As a Man Thinketh. Because what I find is if you can have an opportunity, you could take somebody and give them the best opportunity. But if they don't have the right mindset, they cannot take full advantage of the opportunity. So as a man think it's going to help you think differently. That makes sense. Um,
yep.
Another book I love, Robert Kiyosaki. I know people talk Rich Dad Poor Dad. That's okay, but the next level to that is the Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki. Is a powerful book. It's not another book is Good to Great. A book called Good to Great is a powerful book. Of course, Dr. Kimbrough book, The
Yep.
Wealth Choice, is a
Yep.
must read. I can go on and on, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, those are some nice foundational ones that I believe. Another one. I got to try this one. Atomic Habits.
I
Atomic
heard that one.
That is another one that it's not. It's pretty advanced. It's not for a beginner, but if you can grasp that, the concept of compound interest. That see when once you change your habits, it 10x's everything, and so that's a very good book. Another book. No, I can't forget. I can't say this one. Forget this one. Stephen Covey has a book classic 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. That word
Yeah.
effective, you want to be successful, that's transferable. If you want to be successful, it's these 7 habits that every successful people employ every day. I'll give you a couple of them. Begin with the end in mind. Woo! Come on, somebody.
Yeah.
So all you gotta do is
Yeah.
figure out where you want to go. I told you, I want to own Ken's hot dog stands. What I need to do it. I need to get a degree, go to college, work in the business. I did it. I ran that play from that book, dude, over and over again. Another one I love habit is seek to understand before being understood. See, oftentimes, 90% of the people want to, do you feel me? Do you hear me? Shut your mouth. It's not about you. Listen to people say, give them what you need. Jim Rohn once said something so powerful. He said, you can have everything you want in life by simply giving people what they want. Bruh, that's the name of the game. Give the people what they want. Woo! Come on,
Yeah.
somebody.
Wow. Hey, and I want to say, hey, shout out to Kobe, which I know he passed, but he has another book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective Families. That's a really, really good book
Wow, good
that
stuff. Good stuff.
change the families. Doc, we gotta end this. We gotta shut it down. You dropped so many nuggets. We don't have enough sauce for it. Let's end with this one. Let's end with this one. Two things. I want you to talk. Well, I'll say the second one second. Have you thought about consulting outside of, or do you consult outside of the restaurant and franchise base? Is it just franchise, or are you open to building teams outside of the restaurant industry and business? Number one, and then we're going to truly end on this one. Talk about your wife. How important was she on your journey to becoming who you were?
That's powerful. Two great questions to end with. First, yes, yes, and yes. My sweet spot, my what the area I dominate is any franchise, not just restaurants, but any franchise because franchise is a model that I've mastered. So I do have and had clients that's own one or two restaurants, but to be honest with you, the cash flow is not enough to support my fees, to be honest.
Mm,
Now, I can show them how to create a finance. If they got some investors or some of that, then that's different. But my experience has been, I want to, I would love to, but my experience has been franchise model. It makes that bread.
yeah.
See, a franchise is an ATM machine. See, look, because it's already a proven system. So when they get me, I show them how to crack that code, and then they create an ATM machine. So that's they can definitely they can justify it, and they got the cash flow. Unless you got a restaurant that's doing look, this is the bottom line. If a restaurant is generating at least the baseline would be 2 mil a year, they can afford it. Anybody under that, they can't afford it.
Mm-hmm.
They get I'm be honest with you. Now, if you're doing upwards of that, they can justify. But other than that, they can't afford it. Lastly, my wife, dude, the Bible says when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing and obtain favor for the Lord. I
Yep.
think this. I'm gonna tell you this. Anybody out there, it go both sides. If you're a wife and you got a husband, the Bible says this: two are better than one. Because if one
Yep.
fall down, the other is there to pick him up, and a
Yep.
three-chord string can be easily broken. So I'm gonna tell you right now, when I look at my Rolodex, when I look at the tables that I'm in, the meetings I'm in, the people who, and I no disrespect, the people who are got that sustainable success, got peace, got balance, they do have a partner. And the ones who go to the next level who have the right partner. The right partner means that, come on, somebody. That's that top 1%. That's that one partner that they don't duplicate them. They balance them out. If I'm a right brain thinker, my wife got to be a left brain thinker. If I'm strategic, they got to be a planner. So I make sure that my wife has to be the perfect partner for me to make me better. I don't want a clown. I don't want a servant, a maid. I want a strategic partner that complements me. That's how God made us. That's why He made Adam and Eve because Adam didn't have Adam had what he needed, but he didn't have. Eve had some things that we don't need, that we need to grow. So a partner is absolutely, in my opinion, is vital to your sustainable success. You know what I'm saying? Period. Because it's that balance piece. Now some people
Yeah.
do it. They might be successful. I'm gonna tell you, might have money in the bank. I guarantee you, they lonely at night. Plus,
Yep.
they are out of control. Most people I know out of control because they got nobody to hold them accountable or to check them. So, bruh, absolutely, that's probably one of the most important elements of sustainable success is having that strategic partner going support you, correct you, guide you, lead you, hold you accountable
Yep.
every day. While everybody else is your fan, they're like, no, bro, come on,
You mean?
let's do it.
Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Hour and 3 minutes in, we're gonna wrap it up, man. Kim Brown International. I think this was a banger. Great length on it as well. Man, I'm indebted to you for this, and I appreciate you for coming on, man. And maybe we catch up down the line, man. Thank you, Godspeed to you, and much favor and wealth on your life continuously.
Bro, thank you, man. Okay, and be safe, man. I appreciate the opportunity, man.
All right, take care.
All right, you too.